Ed Piskor committed suicide 1 year ago today, and the only reason why I'm doing a YouTube show is because of Ed Piskor. And so this is kind of like Remember Ed Piskor Day kind of a thing?
Yeah. Welcome to the show. Hi, I'm Chris Lujan.
And I'm BINDU.
This is the I Ams.
Today, this is going to air later because we're way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But it's April 1st. It's April Fool's.
Yeah, let's see. Episode 10 just...
Wait, so he killed himself on April Fool's Day?
Yep.
How is this?
That was a brutal way to start,
joke?
young Maceo. That was a brutal way to start. I'm emotional about it. Yes, Ed Piskor committed suicide 1 year ago today, and the only reason why I'm doing a YouTube show is because of Ed Piskor. And so this is kind of like Remember Ed Piskor Day kind of a thing?
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, well, he got ruthlessly doxxed, and he was just, I'm not going to get into the details of why, but it happened very quickly, right?
Yeah.
So for everybody that doesn't know, Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg were two comic book creators, two cartoonists. They would get together, and they had a daily YouTube show, and it was during the pandemic. So in a time where there was just confusion all over the world, there was one thing that you could count on every single day, no matter what, on YouTube was a Cartoonist Kayfabe episode. And that went on for years, 5 years, about 5 years. And then one day it just stopped. And everyone was like, what the fuck? And then 1 week after that, Ed Piskor had committed suicide and died. What in the fuck? And then it was a couple of weeks after that Jim Rugg started uploading episodes. They were so far ahead of the game. They recorded so many episodes that we got to continue to see Ed Piskor for 6 weeks every day.
Yeah.
It was emotional. Like people were waking up every day to see if there was going to be a new one. And it would come on in fucking tears.
Yeah.
And you would watch as they were just talking over comic books and shit.
But that has ended by now. All of the episodes have been released.
Right.
So was there a definitive... Did Jim Rugg come on and say this is the last episode or anything like that? It just aired and then all of a sudden they're done.
Right. It was like, you know, like if you lose a loved one, you're like, if I could just see them again one more time. Jim Rugg was like, here you go. Boom. And you had one more Cartoonist Kayfabe. And it was like, oh my God, emotional. And then the very next day, another one.
Right.
Oh my God, no one wanted to ask questions. How many more are there? No one wanted to ask. We were just hoping for another one. And it went on for so long. It was such a gift.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful gift from Jim Rugg.
I mean, if everything flows correctly, us talking right now will be episode 23 or 24.
Okay.
And episode...
Sure, I think it's more like 21, 22.
So we're in the 20s.
No, so I just finished editing episode 20. But I've got 21 and 22 at home unedited.
So
Maybe even 23. I can't remember because I haven't dipped into them yet. They were last Thursday when we got together.
I think you haven't messed up.
Nope,
Somehow.
I surely don't. Because we talked about Underground Agent 6 last Tuesday. And
That was not Thursday?
No. And I'll tell you why. How I know. This is some serious inside baseball shit. After we left here on Tuesday, you were like, those episodes were bullshit. Those aren't the words you used, but you were like, those episodes are bullshit. You guys were all over the place. And that's the day that we talked about Underground Agent 6. And then we got together again on Thursday and recorded a couple episodes.
Well, episodes are never bullshit because... Let me say that again. Episodes are never bullshit. Because people just want to see us interact and talk. It doesn't even fucking matter what we're talking about. We don't have to stay on topic ever.
Yeah, well...
They just, like, there's a certain comfort to turning it on, hearing the sounds, seeing the play back and forth. That's what people were getting out of Cartoonist Kayfabe.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen. Like, right now, we're in the beginning, right? But what happens when we're on episode 157?
Right.
You know? Right now, we're on episode 21, 22, 23.
Right.
Right. It doesn't
Wherever we are.
Right.
Welcome to the show.
Right. So I learned from Ed and Jim how to run. They were talking their inside baseball of how they did their shows.
Oh, they were, which is what we're doing. Yeah.
They would get together one day, record multiple episodes that one day. But before that, They would have like homework. These are the books that we're going to review. Read up on them. Have something to say about this comic book or whatever, and they would do that. But they were so legit. Their inside baseball was so legit that real comic creators respected them. So the Cartoonist Kayfabe could get interviews with people that were like me, that won't do interviews, that won't talk to nobody, right? Like Jeff Darrow. This motherfucker lives in France, done with America, right? But this is the guy that did all the conceptual art for the Matrix and shit. like he knows Mobius, he knows Otomo, he knows Jodorowsky, he knows Giger. Like he knew them before they passed away. He's like the last of the giants. He has that crazy art style, Jeff Darrow, Uncle Jeff, that is like, Where's Waldo? It's impossibly intricate.
Oh, okay.
It's amazing, right? He talks to no one, but he'll talk to Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg. Like he was an honorary member of the Cartoonist Kayfabe.
Yeah.
So they could get interviews like that. So New Year's Eve, right before midnight, right? You were talking about the Watchmen and you're like, oh, is that a clock on there? I'm like, yeah, 5 minutes before midnight.
Well, I had to take my glasses off.
They fucking got an interview with the artist. And the artist went over the very last comic of the Watchmen, page by motherfucking page.
Yeah.
With them on New Year's as a gift to people. They're doing this for free.
Right.
There's no way you'd ever get an interview with Dave Gibbons to talk about the Watchmen that was done in 1986.
Was kayfabe done? Was it born out of the pandemic, or was it already happening before then?
It was happening before then, because they're in Pittsburgh, which is funny, because he wore a Raiders hat.
Oh, really?
And it's like, we're in Pittsburgh, and I wear A's hat.
Uh-huh.
But there's an Oakland next to their Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Right. That's what I said. They're copying, right?
Sure.
But whatever. Right? So he's cool. Ed Piskor's cool, right? But he's very into hip hop, and he was doing the family hip hop family tree.
Right, which I had seen it about, like the actual comic. I'd seen it around, never picked one up. I don't really buy many comics, you know. But since hanging out with you and then all of the talk of this, you brought out is it considered an omnibus?
Yeah.
So
with the gold outlet.
Yeah, so I bought one as well.
Family hip hop tree.
Yeah, hip hop family tree.
Yeah, and whatever. I just hit this.
The words. And my buddy Skeem Richards is in it. There's a picture of him with Piskor because the hip hop connection, the comic connection. Skeem is like deep in all that shit. He's deep into the Japanese robot thing.
Well, it's very interesting because you got into a certain kind of a music where it's like if a white person is on stage, it's kind of like, well, who's this white guy, right?
I used to think that.
And you had, right, a long time ago is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I will talk about this.
And you created a song called Why Can't Whitey Be Funky?
I did, yeah.
Ed Piskor is that same guy. Mm-hmm. The entire hip-hop community has mad respect for Ed Piskor, who is white.
Right.
Mad respect. LL Cool J, Chuck D. Just the other day, Chuck D's like, I miss Ed Piskor.
Yeah.
On Twitter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, mad respect for that dude. Yeah. Ed Piskor was a shit.
Yeah, so I've been, now I've started watching Cartoonist Kayfabe stuff.
No shit.
Little bit, But like I said, I don't buy a lot of comic books. So for me, it's more about their personalities than the books. Likely, it's like, oh, I like these dudes. Like, I guess like we're hoping people like these dudes.
Well, Ed Piskor is very much like us. He's our circle kind of a guy. Mm-hmm. And Jim Rugg is a fucking sweetheart. How could you not love Jim Rugg? Mm-hmm. And so those two guys were able to there was like a feud between the creators of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they finally like smoothed things out. Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg was able to get both of those motherfuckers together on a Zoom call.
Oh, yeah?
And they went over the first 5 episodes, panel by motherfucking panel of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original shit. Historic.
Yeah.
Historic shit, and it's on film forever, for everyone to see forever. They got some great ass shit, man.
Yeah.
And so when that all stopped, there was a gigantic void in my life. I'm already dealing with enough depression.
When you say, we'll get back to that. So when you say every day, Is that Monday through Friday or Saturday and Sunday too? Every day.
Correctamundo. 7 days a week.
How long were each episode? Clearly different lengths.
Well, they were different because the ones on the weekend, they would give like the inside baseball shit. So it'd be like 30 minutes long. It would just be a camera setup as they're like what we're doing. Like before we even start this show, how we set up the room and the lighting and all of that.
Yeah.
They would do all that. They let everybody in on everything. They were just great. They just shared everything. So I didn't even know what kayfabe meant.
I don't know what it means.
Kayfabe is like pro wrestling.
Oh, yes, you did
The fakeness of the pro wrestling, and then how they don't break it.
Right.
And even when they get off camera, they're stomping around and they're doing that.
Yeah.
That's kayfabe. So Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor were explaining to the layman exactly how comic books are made, right? How did they get this look? That's how I found out about the Ames guide and how to do lettering, because doing lettering is the hardest fucking thing on your project. All the drawing was easy, and the lettering
Here, draw
is
this shit. This
fucking
is what it
nightmare.
needs to say.
Here's all the words. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you have a letterer? No, I'm the letterer? Fuck, I've never learned. So what I had
Buck
to
up,
do was,
homeboy.
I watched a Cartoonist Kayfabe episode. I fucking ordered my Ames guide. It's in here somewhere, god damn it. Right? And I learned how to fucking letter. And then I went to the digital iPad. And
So how's this thing work?
you set up it's a whole thing. You on the paper.
Oh, this is maybe too much to explain to me right now.
You make grid paper basically with this, but you can make any size. So
Right.
the font, there's a transparent twisty wheel on the inside. There's holes, measurements, for specificity.
All right.
Right. Anyways, whatever. I learned all that shit from the Cartoonist Kayfabe. They were telling you what kinds of brushes people would do or use or whatever. They reminded me of How to Make Comics the Marvel Way, and it was an important book. And I'm like, oh yeah. I went out and I got it. They let you know we're about to interview this motherfucker, and right now you can get this comic on eBay hella cheap. All you out there?
So they would drive up the price just by having them on.
Right. So they would let their audience know the price is about to be driven up. Go out there and get this now, friends.
It's the same way with guitars, guitar pedals. It's the same way with like records and shit like that. It's
Man.
all of it, you see all of a sudden someone's playing a certain guitar that was considered junk, 10 years ago, and now all of a sudden everyone needs it.
Right. Right. The Killer got a 45.
Not that I'm saying your artists
Everybody
are
got to
junk.
have a 45.
Yeah.
No, so the Cartoonist Kayfabe, so that's when they were letting everybody know that they were recording so many episodes, and then they would record an extra one just for safe measure.
Right.
And they did this for years. So they had a whole backlog. So when Ed wasn't around anymore, Jim just had like weeks of episodes. Right? So I'm like, that was such a smart thing to do, because that means you could take a vacation, you could take a month off.
Right.
You could do whatever you wanted, and you would still have this dedicated. They were Sunday through Saturday.
I guess
it was insane.
if we have, like I said, 10 just released, 11 is a two-parter. And so like we've got another 12 or 13 episodes. And if we're dropping, what is that, 2 months worth of shit?
Dude, I can't think in retrospect.
It's a month and a half
Yeah, that's fresh.
worth of shows.
That's fucking fresh.
Ready to go.
That's like
Like I said,
1983.
if it stays at this pace, you could increase the amount per week.
Sure.
Right.
Eventually we'll get there. Because so that's what I'm saying. The Cartoonist
We're
Kayfabe,
verbose.
the Cartoonist Kayfabe was the only thing that I can think of that you could absolutely count on to come out every single day. You couldn't count on the American government. You couldn't count on
to
fucking...
come out every day. That's
people had
for
masks
sure. We
on.
had pandemic, yeah.
Right. You couldn't do shit. You couldn't do shit.
There's a guy on YouTube, John Sine, S-I-N-E. He's a music producer in Germany. And he had a show that would happen every day. Every day.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden it just stopped, because he got married and he was like buying a place and,
It's shocking.
when it goes from every day to nothing and you have no idea why.
You psychologically get synced to it.
Yeah.
And then when it stops, there is a void.
You're clearly like, what happened? What is going on?
Right. And so I'm like, Chris, we're making a YouTube show because I miss fucking Ed Piskor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here we are.
Right. Now, when you're not here, I have Ed on the screen. So
Right.
I'm always hearing his voice, and they're just talking about comics that I had a gigantic treasure trove of comic books back at a time before the internet.
Yeah.
So I would go to WonderCon and meet the artist and pay for extra drawings. That's how I got all the extra drawings from Jim Mahfood. Because back then, in the sea of things that were happening, he just stuck out to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And then I met him, and he was a little bit younger than me.
Mahfood?
Mahfood. Yeah, I'm like 2 years older than him, maybe.
I mean, he's probably my favorite
He is the.
because of you, you know.
There's something about him that is just awesome.
Very hip hop.
All of it, dude. Him, hip hop, him, jazz, him, funk, him, disco. Like, yeah.
Hi, Jim.
Right. Yeah, I know. So I've been following that fool around since like 96, 97, something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, I think I started following him right after the first Girl Scouts for, you know, I guess you would say graphic novel compilation.
Yeah, Girl
for-
Scouts.
Yeah.
Well, he was going through his Hewitt stage, right? The dude that draws the Gorillaz.
Right.
They
I just
were
watched
all-
a whole thing on that guy.
They were inspired by each other. They're all drawing the same, right? So you could see Jim Mahfood's style change. But he also hangs out with Sienkiewicz. So
Yeah.
like, and that motherfucker's weird as shit. He draws like me.
Sidetrack a little bit.
Or I draw like him.
So I know you like the Gorillaz, right? So I just watched a whole YouTube thing. If I find the video again, I'll link it down below. Look, I get to say that kind of shit now. It's about, so it wasn't about the artist Hewitt, but it was about the guy the musician.
We'll get back to this comic books. I haven't lost my.
No. So there was because I'm talking about Gorillaz. You brought up Hewitt.
Yeah.
So the band Blur,
Okay.
which you will put them on after this, you will definitely know their songs.
Okay.
Right? He's the guy behind Gorillaz too. Because he was like, let me do this side thing. Blur got so popular. What did they say? It was some like top 40 MTV new music thing or something like that. Blur and Oasis competed. They were basically like, we're gonna drop a single on the same day, basically to find out who's the better band.
Cool.
Right?
That's cool.
And it ended up that like Blur won over Oasis. I know I'm shaking the table, but you know Oasis.
Yeah.
So when I play you Blur songs, you'll definitely recognize
Sounds
them.
familiar.
And so Blur got so popular, so that was my illustration of how popular they got. They won out over Oasis. That dude was like, I'm gonna start a side project that doesn't sound like Blur.
Okay.
That's more like hip hop or whatever. And yeah, so he started Gorillaz. And I think for a few, like at the beginning, no one knew who it was. Remember? Because it was from what I remember, they were hiding behind the characters that Hewitt drew.
Well, that was interesting because the characters that Hewitt drew looked very similar to how I drew myself back then in that time in the sketchbook. And it was like, well, you guys are like similar, but this is a professional dope ass guy. So I was around the circle of David Cho, Mahfood, and all of that, hyper into comics. But then I started a family very young.
Right.
And just got out
we're
of
back
that.
in the story.
No, but I got out of that, right? And so watching them all grow was hella dope. And now I'm coming back into the world. I kept up on my shit. I'm hella dope, but now they're all very established, right?
Yeah.
So watching Jim Mahfood's artwork change
Yeah, it has changed quite
is
a bit.
crazy. So I had all of these comics during that time. And during my divorce and all that, I lost all my comics. And so...
Not in the divorce, how they say.
No, it was in a storage unit. There was a whole big thing, whatever. I lost many, many long boxes of comics, but I was the guy that went to all the conventions and met everybody and had autographs of everybody. So
Yeah.
it was heartbreaking. It was,
Sure.
I'm done. I'm done with comics forever, right?
Yeah.
And it was the Cartoonist Kayfabe that got me back. And they were going over the books that I had had. So I never
Right.
thought I'd see these books again. And now they're going over them and they're giving the inside baseball on all of them. And that's when I fell in love with, holy shit, this is the greatest YouTube channel ever.
Yeah.
And so that's how I fell into the Cartoonist Kayfabe.
Okay.
And it was all
You would
like-
watch that all the time.
Right. And they got me back into, maybe I should start drawing. right?
Oh, you hadn't drawn in a while. Huh?
No. Because I was painting.
You were doing
all the
paint
time.
night
Just
stuff,
painting,
yeah.
right? So I'm getting art out of the way for work.
Out of the way.
Well,
The thing you love the most. I got it out of the way.
losing my comics fucked me up.
Yeah, I understand that though.
I wanted to be a comic artist and I didn't. I had a family, so but at least I had my library of comics.
Right.
Lost my library of comics. I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. Right?
Yeah.
So I lost my mind. Right. And then slowly started over. Now I did have a tiny trove, my little Bible of books that I keep with me no matter what.
Right.
By my bedside. So I still have those.
Right.
And that has my Dark Knight books and all of that. But man, yeah. Oh, my buddy Booze,
Yes.
he found the guy that bought my storage unit.
No.
Yeah.
Like, was he searching for him Sherlock Holmes style, or he
Yes.
just happened upon him?
I was heartbroken.
Okay.
So he found the dude and he bought back 4 books that I had signed.
4 books.
Right. So I had a comic called Batman the Cult, 1 through 4. Special kind of a book. And it was drawn by Bernie Wrightson, who is a magnificent Olympian in the comic world. Illustrator, fantastic. Well, he recently passed away. Well, at that time, right?
Yeah.
So I had his autograph. I met him at WonderCon. And we had a long conversation. And he signed my Batman Colts. Now, my Batman Colts, I think, in my opinion, are the greatest Batman covers of all time. Right? And we'll show them up right here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but my books are signed.
Uh-huh.
So Booze bought them back. And the guy was being an asshole. Right? So he couldn't afford some of my other books. Now, I had 11 comic boxes, dude.
I mean, because the guy, even though they're yours, it's like he's like, I bought them fair and square.
Right.
Them's is the rules.
He didn't even want to have a conversation. So Booze showed up at my house and he goes, I got you something. And it was 4 of my favorite comics, the most important, that I could never get back because the dude's dead.
Right.
And they're all signed. And I'm like, Booze, open door policy for you forever for the rest of my life. And that's who Booze is to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Booze.
Yeah, so he saved my Bernie Wrightson.
I'll meet you someday. Back in the dark alley.
Yeah, so I like comic books.
Nunchucks and wooden swords.
I have nunchucks and wooden swords.
I know you do. That's why we're gonna meet there.
Yeah.
You can officiate.
Yeah, man, I really, so
Coming for your booze.
Ed Piskor
Kayfabe.
and Jim Rugg got me back into comics because I was so heartbroken over it.
Yeah.
Right? But Jack Kirby, right? The creator of all Marvel. And this is a specific Doctor Doom mask that is specifically Jack Kirby Doctor Doom. Jack Kirby has a famous quote, comics will break your heart. That's his quote.
Man.
And
I mean, I could apply that to music in so many
I
ways
fucking
too.
lost my comics. My heart got broke. Cartoonist Kayfabe got me fall back in love with comics. I got back into comics, and then we lost Ed, and my heart, oh my God.
Yeah, I know you were very torn up about it.
Yeah, so torn up about it, we had to make our own show.
Yeah.
I'm still not right, but I got to deal with it like the Joker. I just laugh and continue my show. Speaking of shows, thanks for coming to my show last night. That was great.
Yeah, no problem.
That was a great surprise. I'm trying not to go crazy drunk at my shows.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah, it was
You know?
very nice. It wasn't as hypey, but I didn't feel like it should have been hypey because there was like people wanted to paint
20 people there, yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to paint a cat. We were painting a kitten.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
No, you got plenty high though.
oh, I got stupid high.
Yeah.
So high the cat was wide.
Yeah.
The
He
cat
made a
was wide.
He made a pumpkin-headed cat.
All right, look, guys, look. When I'm painting, right, where's the canvas? All right. When I'm painting, I'm left-handed, right? When I'm painting and I'm talking to the audience, right, and I'm painting from the side, my depth perception got fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when I looked at it, my fucking cat face was fucking this way. It was fucked up. But I wasn't drunk. I couldn't, I just fucked it up. But I didn't fuck it up. I made it work.
Yeah.
But my cat was close to the camera. You know what I mean?
His head was sticking out the water.
Way out the water. Talk about. Yeah, it was great. It's fun times, man.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun. Thanks for making room for us.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of room.
I didn't paint a cat.
No. And I will get what I got right after this hit.
Okay.
Because I got 2 paintings last night.
You did.
Because
I was kind of jealous. I was like, oh man, hers is dope. I made a silly, dumb fuck painting.
dude, I got Christina Pelican, Mrs. Pelican. Her husband was right there.
So
I got her so high. She
Yeah.
was like, because she has the better version of all of these. Right? So she was like, let me hit your little toy. Right? And
Yeah.
She goes, this shit hits. She got so fucked up.
the fuck was I gonna say?
She made that kaleidoscope cat. It's fucking, it's super tripped out. And we'll show it right here. Yeah. It's drying in my garage, my gallery.
Oh yeah.
After I hit this,
Thick.
I'll go get it.
Thick paint.
Because I got 2 wonderful paintings. Hers and Bad Guy. Hold on, cheers.
Bad guy.
Oh wait, I didn't click the thing.
I'm not happy with the bad guy.
Why?
Because okay, so the
are you
bat
talking
guy,
about?
where it says bat guy,
Yeah.
right?
It's upside down and backwards.
I know I should have just made it backwards. Because when you go upside down and backwards, it kind of puts the letters where they're supposed to be, but the letters are upside down. So like if I would have done it backwards, it would have been more fucked up and more perfect. I was trying to go upside down and backwards, thinking I was going even further with it being fucked up. I fucked it up too much.
Well, since we haven't told the audience, now we have to show the actual painting that was supposed to be done and then your painting of what you did. But you went off the cuff. You weren't looking at any pictures.
No,
You just painted.
I had to mix a lot of paint.
It was amazing.
I had
thought
to
it was
mix a lot
amazing.
of paint to get the gray, because there's a lot of gray, and I had to mix a lot of paint to get the flesh color.
Yeah, well, you didn't ask any questions.
No.
Because I could have told you how to do it real quick. But you were surprising me. It was wonderful.
I mean, I knew how to do it. It was just a matter of like, did I mix up enough paint? Oh God, I gotta match this color again. You know,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing.
I mean, I'm fighting every goddamn urge right now to go into the garage and get the paintings.
You can.
But this is something easily fixed in editing, like the coughing into the mic right there. That won't be there because you're magic.
It'd be so easy to make him go get them. See? That's all. All I had to do was say something and he's like, fuck it, I gotta go get them. Edit.
I ain't for sure if it's dried yet, man. I don't want.
It's probably not.
I don't want them fucked up, dude. No, those aren't dry yet.
Well, I guess we'll have to just show the one we were supposed
Look
to paint.
at that, bro. Look at those crazy fucking paint swirls.
Yeah,
That's
somehow
fucking amazing.
in this, you could still make it out,
It looks great.
you know?
Hells yeah. It's fucking dope.
That's ugly.
What are you talking about? I'm gonna have to figure it out. Fuck that A's guy. He's gone. Fuck you, A's.
Bat guy.
You're done. Yeah.
But this one, though, like, honestly, watch out. Careful.
Dude.
Yeah, somehow it all works.
Yeah, we got her hella high. She was so high.
They go to a lot of your shows, yeah? And the reason I say that is because I helped you out on St. Patrick's Day, and they were there. And then the next time me and Maceo show up, which I believe is your next cap show from the last one, they're there again.
They're coming from Tracy, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How do they just come to, like, so many shows?
Mm-hmm. They're about to leave. They're moving to, I think, Idaho or something like that. Mm-hmm. For business or something like that. He owns his own business. He's an electrician, I think. Or something like that. I can't remember. They own their own business. She's a stay-at-home mom. And she's gorgeous. And they have the perfect kid. And they got the perfect dog and the perfect cat and the perfect house and everything. And they just get high all the time. And he's totally secure. He's not worried about his hot wife. And we just come out and have a good time. They give me weed. He bought me ShamWows, real ShamWows. Oh my God, dude, that's fantastic. They're just great.
This paint is so thick.
It's, dude.
Like, you could tell it's still wet. Like,
goes, "You want it?"
If I touched it.
I'm like,
Oh, man.
You really gonna give that to me?
Oh, I saw your excitement.
Dude.
We were there.
I can't wait for this to dry. So I have it way up high in the garage.
Guess you got to put it back then, huh?
It's dope.
Or I guess you could lean it up, right? It's not going to drip.
I mean, it's not as dope as my back eye. But it's all right.
It's doper. That guy's a joke.
This is fucking... I don't think she meant for it to come out that good. But that came out good.
No, it seemed like at a certain point she was like, screw it, you know?
Yeah, but that's...
But maybe that's when art is
That's
at its
when
best.
this...
Yeah.
Dude, this is good.
Jackson Pollock.
She goes, can I have yours? Fuck yeah. I was like, it's going to end up in my driveway. I'm going to throw that shit away.
Yeah. You come to Brandon's house and there's just like a stack, 2 stacks of those canvases all
I got rid of them.
We got rid of them probably because it was fucking windy as shit and they were blowing all over the place. One day I came out here, they were all over the place.
Oh shit, we're recording still.
Yeah, so finish up on Kayfabe.
Oh my god, damn. See, that's why I didn't want to go out there and do all that, because we're using up power and time and lights
big deal.
and space and all that shit.
And through the majesty of editing.
Because it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have the shirt as well.
Yeah.
Unworn.
Yeah. If I ever go to like a comic convention ever again, I'll rock this shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you draw them?
Yeah, I did.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I do.
Make sure to like and subscribe and join our Discord and Patreon. Check out our links.
Now back to the show. So I drew Ed, and I hadn't finished all this part yet.
Did you do this too? That looks exactly like from my memory. I mean, I don't know if you held them next to each other if I would see the difference, but this looks dead on it to me.
What's on the mug, I think.
Right.
The cat should be black.
Sure. But I drew this part, and it wasn't all finished yet, and I tagged Ed, and Ed liked it. Right? And it was like, so I started this like 3 weeks before we lost Ed.
Yeah.
And so at least he
Gotta
saw
do
it.
the right thing on, huh?
Yeah. He saw it, he liked it, and then he was gone. And then with tears, I fucking finished it. Like tears coming out of my face.
That's what all of this is.
It really is, dude. It really is. But yeah. We lost, like, there was like Jack Kirby, there's Ed Piskor, like there's monumental people. The problem with losing Ed Piskor was that he was a Quentin Tarantino of comic books.
Yeah.
He knew all the shit right off the top of his head without looking at anything. So even though he's about 10 years younger than me, nephew knew his shit, man.
Yeah.
He really knew his shit. Like, he was really jealous that he missed out on my time. They would talk about it. Like, I wonder what it was like to be in 1986.
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker, I was breakdancing in 1986 with Pumas on, looking like fresh, with a crazy pump back Filipino Pinoy hair, dude.
What
Aquanet.
elementary school did that? So you were in junior high or elementary school?
I was in junior high. I was in Hillview.
What elementary school did you go to?
Los Medanos.
Los Medanos.
Yep.
Okay. So I went to Highlands.
Okay.
Right? So in Highlands, when breakdancing was happening.
Highlands is dope. That was a nice campus.
Like it's still the same campus. This is something that me and my wife have just talked about recently is all of the schools have changed.
Right.
You know?
They all look like prisons now.
But Highlands is still the
Parkside
same.
looks more like a hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh High School looks like a fucking prison.
Yes, it does.
Even when you're on the inside, it's like,
Prisoner. Especially now because they added clocks that come from the ceiling.
Whoa.
So it's like a rectangular digital clock. It's red, digital.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yep.
1 hour in the yard.
No, seriously.
You are trespassing.
They're
Oh my
trying to,
God.
You should not be here.
within the first 5 minutes of the class starting, the teachers are supposed to lock the door or something.
Oh,
and then
fuck.
whoever
Man.
doesn't show up,
Active
is
shooter.
supposed to-
Right.
Yeah. Shit.
Right.
Okay. So in Highlands, back to breakdancing. In Highlands, we would have the dodgeball circle, right? And everyone would gather around the dodgeball circle while someone was in the middle dancing.
What a game. Dodgeball.
Yeah. And so while someone was in the middle dancing, and then they would do the whole like point challenge someone else.
Yeah.
thing. No music. There was no music playing, just people breakdancing at recess.
Wow.
Breakdancing was that big.
It was an athletic feat.
Yeah,
sure.
it took over. Like
It sure did.
yeah. So in elementary school, that's when it was for me, like the dodgeball circle and someone dancing in the middle.
So breakdancing became very big right when I was about in the 4th grade. So 4th, 5th, you would have been in the 3rd.
Yeah.
So by the time you got into the 4th, it had made its way to the playground and people were doing it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's funny. Like I know that we were talking about the Beastie Boys a couple episodes ago, and I said, "Oh, that was the birth of Illin." But
Yep.
then I remember, but that wasn't the birth of Illin because Run DMC came out well before the Beastie Boys and would talk about "You Be Illin" and all that shit.
Bump, 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 bump.
The yellow and green when it's time to get ill.
Right.
You know, my Adidas.
Tougher than leather, all
Yeah.
that shit. Yep.
So yeah, I was
But like I was dancing when there was like Electric Kingdom. Do you even remember that?
Electric
Come
Kingdom.
to Electric Kingdom. Boom, boom, boom.
That's what it was. Electric Kingdom.
Yeah, dude, that's way before the Beastie Boys. That's years before.
I mean, like I was like, so in Pittsburgh, there was a radio station. Do you know this? There was a radio station
on Railroad.
across the street from Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
Right. Me and my homies back in elementary school used to go there and get mixtapes from that guy.
Cool.
So we would get
K-Soul.
yes, KSOL.
So, bitch, I know.
Yeah, man. Like we would get.
Motherfucker, who do you think you are?
We is. So we would get mixtapes from him. So like if you want to know the era that this is when Roxanne was, you had like the multiple different
Can't go
Roxannes.
from UTFO.
Can't go, Mr. Sophisticator. As far as I know, ain't nobody greater. Yeah, from beginning to end and to beginning. As far as I know, ain't nobody greater. Yeah. So this
I
was.
thought you were going to do it in time. From beginning to end.
Well, I just wanted to get through it.
beginning. Yeah. No.
So
That's right where Can't go.
yeah.
Roxanne.
I want to be your man. So
They don't know.
So back then, this is the time when I was in like getting into hip hop. So that was like it was like that early. You know, Run DMC was my shit. But yeah, we would go up and get mixtapes.
Oh, that's why you're all about the Adidas.
That's why I'm all about the Adidas.
I started, the Pumas we were breakdancing before my Adidas song came out. And we had Pumas on. In fact, if you watch like Breakin' or whatever, those movie, that when that first crew, when they start breakdancing, they're in red Pumas tracksuits.
Right.
They got Pumas on and they're fucking breakdancing. This is like 1982.
Yeah, so I got it. You know, my shoe game started with Adidas, basically.
Sure.
Shell toes.
Understandable. My brother, same.
Yeah.
Both of them. They're Adidas and Nikes. And I've always been Puma.
So I guess this is the era that Piskor would be envious of.
Right. So Piskor did a comic book, and it's a goddamn shame that I never got to hook up with him, because the conversations we could have had. He's not a pothead though. He was straight edge, I think.
Okay.
He didn't do anything, but he could ask me questions that I could answer.
Right.
Yeah. Because like when you learn, like let's just say you learn a foreign language. Let's say you learn French 1, 2, and 3. Okay. That's not how people speak French in France.
Right.
There's a street slang.
You need conversational French.
Right. So there's Wikipedia.
Ghetto slang French.
There's Wikipedia things you can look up, but it doesn't necessarily tell you what was really going down. And there's people in the know, and I'm one of those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Right? I'm people that know people.
Real nerd shit.
Right,
Man,
so-
I really want to make a drop of that we could just interject.
But what's weird is that there's many times where I've been around with Mahfoud and I have pictures of him drawing me and him smoking weed.
Right.
I've given him weed at conventions, allegedly. It's legal now, but it wasn't then, allegedly. Right? And he drew a picture of him like smoking a blunt and I'm smoking a bong or whatever.
Yeah.
It's 1998 when he drew that.
Yeah.
99.
Well before weed.
Right?
Was
And then later on in a different path, I hooked up with the whole David Cho thing. Well, those guys all know each other too. And then later on, I became friendly with this girl, Danica, comic book girl 19. She's just a super dope ass content creator. And so I drew some fan art for her and she reposted it. But all those dudes know Danica. So now I'm showing up in their circles. It's weird.
Right.
And then Ed Piskor knew all of them. And they all, like, what a weird, tight-knit little circle. And then he did some shit that has your boy in it.
Right.
That,
Scheme
like,
Richards, yeah.
What a
I guess they were homies. Like I said, through comic books and,
Yeah.
Japanese robot shit,
Oh yeah, they're into all of that
Yeah.
shit.
Yep.
Yeah, all of that Mazinger and yeah, get her, all of that shit.
Nostalgia King.
Well, I
Scheme
grew
Richards,
up
always
Asian
good.
in the 70s. Growing up Asian in the 70s was weird because I was Filipino, and they're like, so like, are you more Chinese or Japanese? And I had a Japanese friend. Actually, he's Okinawan, but no one cares.
I won't make my joke.
And he came over in the 70s, late 70s, and I was his first friend. And he was like gifted and talented education kid. He would like go to Gate.
Yeah.
So, but he had a toy called Gundam. And we were little kids. I felt like that was cussing, but I could say it.
Sure.
And I had my Mazinger toys and all of that. And so he was like, let me tell you the story of that. And so he was letting me know. Because, America, there's always lost in translation.
Yeah.
He was letting me know this is how it really is.
Right.
And so he was letting me know, like, there was a toy called Micronauts. I had Micronauts. Those actually came out a year before the action figures and all of that shit. So all of this time in the 70s, late 70s, going into the 80s, that's right about when Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz came and just blew shit up. So by the mid 80s, the whole world had caught on. Frank Miller, all of that, right? Comics got hella big, and it got so big that movies started getting made. So by the 90s, now we have movies and cartoons.
Right.
And it all became of that. So during that time in the early 90s, this magazine came out called Wizard, and it was the National Geographic for nerd shit. So Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg, they lived in Pittsburgh, and they would go to, they were creators, cartoonists, and they would go to conventions that were far away. So they'd have these long car trips as they would go to these conventions, and the conversations that they would have, they were like, we should record these. And that's what became the Cartoonist Kayfabe.
Right.
Right? And it's just weird because that's what you and I do.
Right.
And Maceo was like, you should be recording these conversations. And so it's like this weird...
It seems like comic books have almost the same history as skateboarding.
Yes, very same ballpark.
In that they were very popular and then like died off to like almost nothing.
Yep.
Right? And then got popular again. So this is how skateboarding went. It was popular when it was like the new hula hoop, in its origins, right? Then it died off. And then in the 80s, it started picking up again. And that's when you have the Bones Brigade and all those Powell Peralta stuff, the Santa Cruz. Oh, I'm actually wearing my Santa Cruz screaming hand under here. So that's when you have all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And then in the early 90s, it started to die again. So I would say like each time it got a little bit more popular. So like during that Bones Brigade stuff, that's the Search for Animal Chin. And that's...
Bones Brigade, what a trip.
Yeah.
It's funny. Don't forget what you're thinking about. But
See, he'll interrupt me too.
You're all the time. You're a skateboard kid.
Yeah.
I'm a BMX kid. Right? There's something about us. Like, we fall bad.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Right.
Other kids barely fall, all fucked up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Pussies.
Very much.
Anyways, Powell Peralta, continue.
So it was very popular in the 80s, and that's when you first got to know Tony Hawk and all of that stuff.
Fuck yeah.
Right? And then it died off again.
Yeah.
Like bad.
Right.
This is when like all of the professional skateboarders, unless you were a Tony Hawk type, where honestly there's no one who is a Tony Hawk type besides Tony Hawk. But I think you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Everyone else had to like, okay, I was a professional skateboarder, but now I have to go figure out something else because skateboarding is dead.
Right.
Right. Then it got popular again, kind of with Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Like probably when that came out, it started, and then the X Games and all of that stuff, it starts to get more popular. And now it's at a level, so compare this to comic books. Now it's at a level to me, and has been for over a decade now, where like, now it's here to stay.
Agreed. Well, same thing, you're exactly right. Because right around the time, and that's funny to mention, Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor were talking about Wizard, and Wizard was the National Geographic of comics, but it was watching the end of comics. Because the 90s is when comics died.
Yeah, just like
Fucking
skateboarding.
Died, exactly.
Yeah.
Died. And it didn't come back. There was just a handful of people that were keeping that shit alive. Jim Mahfood is one of them. And I just feel like a pimp being able to spot him out in the 90s.
Right.
Boy, he's one of them, right? A young buck.
Well, I guess
Now he's super dope. He stayed true to the game. And the Cartoonist Kayfabe stayed true to the game, right? And they, I think, single-handedly brought comic books back hardcore.
Yeah.
And now it's here to stay.
Yeah.
Never going away.
I think it also has to do with, like, when I was a teenager, skateboarding was my shit, right? You, when you were a teenager, comic books were your shit,
Yeah.
right? So now as we've gotten older, maybe it's nostalgia. We look back at that and we go like, well, fuck that. That's who I am, right? And so now it's like, you know, like comic books are popular because your generation has kept it alive.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you get to look back, you know, and go, this is all the shit I had when I was a kid.
Yep.
Clearly I haven't been on a skateboard in years. But like honestly, like you said, there's like, we have to digitize this video of me skateboarding. But like I was deep into it. I wasn't just on the fringes of it. I was like deep into skateboarding.
I remember when
it's like once a skater, always a skater is what I'm getting at. If you're that deep into it.
No, absolutely.
You know.
And you were a bad motherfucker, man.
Thanks.
You're a bad motherfucker. So that's an interesting thing that I feel like watching all these comic dudes, right? Had I not started my family, I would have been right in that.
Yeah.
And it's a trip now that I'm an empty nester now. My kids are growing up, did college, did all that shit. And so now I could get to join them.
What are you going to do
Get back.
about it?
I'm fucking...
What are you going to challenge?
Right? So now I'm in it now. So now I'm drawing every day and we're doing this show and
Yeah.
Never
Not Ninjas coming
soon. But you know what else, man? I really want to just do a one shot of Badass Bruno.
Do it, man.
I did that Kickstarter with Jim Mahfood.
Yeah.
And he has this book coming out called Savage Street Vigilante.
Oh.
And it's like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
it's
a
available
parody
on
of,
this
like,
website now.
Batman or Wolverine
Yeah.
or something. I don't know, right?
It's not out yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we kicked
Good,
it.
because we were just in a comic book shop the other day, and I was like, I want to find the Jim Mahfood stuff. See, it's hard for me to go into a comic book shop and find what the fuck I'm looking for, right? Because everything is like separated in this weird way of like, here's the comic books by title. Here's the comic books by title, right? And then you also have sections that's like by artist, and I'm just like, because I know I want to look for my food books, right? But I don't know what they're called for the most part. Like I was like Stupid Comics. I know Stupid Comics and shit like that.
No, it's fucked up
you know,
too.
Girl Scouts.
Just for shits and giggles, he'll do covers for people.
Yeah.
Like he did a Tom Sholey Godzilla cover I didn't know about. And I'm
And
like, what the fuck? I just missed out on
And there's a lot of art books.
Mahfood
just like
doing Godzilla?
sketchbooks.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, I know, like, because I just want to look at his art, you
His
know?
Ballpoint 2 is coming out.
Ink stains. That's one of them too, right?
Well, that's when him and Jane Doe.
Oh, yeah, yeah. See, so there's like all of that stuff. Like, I just want to look at that shit. So, like, I don't, like, in my mind, it's like, just show me where my food books are.
You know what's a trip?
Some comic books, you can find them easy, some you can't.
Sure. Well, if you go to Flying Colors in Concord, with Uncle Joe, Flying Colors and other cool stuff.
Concord.
Yeah. Those dudes in there know their shit.
Yeah.
So you could be like, hey.
Well, I'm sure I could probably go into any of them and be like, yo, bro, where's my food shit? But see, like, I'm not like a big, like I told you, I'm not into comic books like that. Like, I rarely buy a comic book. So part of me doesn't want to go into a comic book store and be like, hi, newbie here, show me where the cool books are, you know?
I see. You're used to being hella cool all the time.
I guess so. So I don't want to go in and be like, I don't know nothing. Show me the good ones.
It's just something because I don't know what it was about Mahfood. Maybe it's because his connections. He came into the comic game with Clerks. And I just really liked that what Kevin Smith was doing at that time was just really cool.
And you know, Mahfood would also always, not always, but a lot of times he would also have an official soundtrack to whatever he was doing.
That's what it was.
So no, you know what I'm saying? Like he would be like, currently listening to, and then list like 10 albums or something like
So-
that, you know? And they were albums that spoke to me already.
Agreed.
You know?
So when I went and got that one drawing from him, it was before that. The drawing I got from him was after that. I told you, I'm going to WonderCon.
Right.
My food's going to be there. And you're like, give him this fucking CD.
Yeah.
And so I did.
Yeah, and he hit me up. He liked it.
Yeah, I went
And then
there. I saw him. I gave him the shit. I gave him some weed.
I know I sent him my very first
Allegedly.
record. I sent him my very first record.
Yeah.
Jim, you want more?
No, but
Shoot me your address.
The fact that, like, who the fuck am I? And he's like saying thanks later in an email.
Yeah.
Like days later.
Yeah.
It was sweet. He was a sweetheart. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to follow this guy. This is early 90s or mid 90s. And he just turned out to be a fucking dragon. He just got bigger and more powerful and better and started, like, his art changed and morphed into a fucking, is awesome.
So today,
So anything he does now, I'll just buy it.
yeah. So today, I brought you like some new records.
And then, so I'm watching the Cartoonist Kayfabe, and they go, oh, look, here comes a lieutenant of ours, and it's Jim Mahfood. And I'm like, no fucking way.
There you go.
No fucking way. They know each other and they're friends, whatever. Wait, so anyway.
So I brought you a Mr. White figure, right?
Oh, yes.
I mean, you don't have to grab it, but as I was going, I have a box of cool shit to me in the garage, right? And so
You're going to be okay.
I also have the Jim Mahfood Smoke Dog figure.
Oh,
Like in the case with the boom box and a can of spray paint next to it.
that is deep
yeah.
cut.
So I have that figure.
What is
so
that, 97?
It's a long ass time ago. So I
98.
took that out and now that's in the studio.
Oh, nice.
I'm telling you, I have some cool shit.
I know, man.
All right, so let's wrap up this kayfabe episode here.
Well, all I'm saying is that today is the 1 year anniversary that we lost Ed. And in that time, there has been a gigantic surge of YouTube shows specifically coming out because of Ed. There's the K Fam Sunday shit on Instagram.
Oh, yeah?
There's all kinds of stuff. We'll list it, you know.
And he just had Switchblade something come out, right?
Switchblade Shorties.
Switchblade Shorties, which looks cool. And so today, also, this is when the kayfabe fan tribute book comes out, right? Comes out today?
So, yeah.
I think so.
It's sold out, though.
I know, instantly.
Right, so his
Like
sister,
within
Justine, that's running fucking everything.
hour.
Yeah, it was faster than that.
Yeah.
She promised there'll be a second run and all
Okay.
of that. So for those of you that got the first run, you lucky bastards.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I have almost every comic that he's made, but I don't have any Switchblade Shorty shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that new Cartoonist Kayfabe shit. But I feel
Because
like...
we're broke. Sign up to our Patreon. Right?
He ain't lying. Right? Look, sensitive artist, struggling artist, but fucking...
We ain't one at a time in here with mass communicating.
He ain't lying. Ain't that right, little man? Yeah, man. So, rest in peace, Ed Piskor. All love to the Cartoonist Kayfabe and Jim Rugg, Tom Sholey, fucking Jim Mahfood, all of them. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we can give something back positive to the universe like they did. You know? Because they didn't talk politics. They didn't talk negative. Well, they talked shit about shitty people in the comic industry, but it was awesome. It was inside baseball.
Let me ask you this. One last thing.
Sure.
So, so you're here, like you said, we don't talk politics here, right? When we were first starting the show, when we were like, okay, let's do it, we hadn't recorded an episode yet. You were like, I don't know if I can.
Right.
Because you were so in your politics is all you wanted to talk about.
I'm very political. I'm very patriotic.
And you were like, no one wants to watch this shit. I will turn everybody off.
Correct.
Right? But at that time, you were like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to not talk about politics.
Right.
We're 25 episodes in. I don't really think we've touched on politics at all. How do you feel?
I feel great, but I think it's because of my partner. You know, the whole Bert and Ernie shit. I like to be in a
I'll
room
be Ernie. I don't
where
care.
everyone's better than me. I'm Bert.
Fucking A.
Dude, I'm Ernie, motherfucker.
No.
I got the crumbs in the bed. Maybe you are, Ernie.
So, anyways,
Rubber ducky.
but I mean, we're able to do it without talking politics, and I don't feel like you're holding back.
No, it's because I learned a long time ago to I like to surround myself with people that are better than me, so that I'm always learning.
That's you,
right? So like even like last night, you showed up at my show,
yeah,
right? You went up on stage and you put in a song that I fucking fell in love with. Anybody else would have killed.
Surprise Chef. That's the name of the band. They're from Australia. They're dope. They're on Big Crown. So good.
So anytime I'm sitting here with you, I feel like I'm learning something or learning something about myself because you'll ask me a question that I haven't thought about in a long time or whatever. But
here's another side tangent for you.
What?
So Surprise Chef, right? I learned about them. My first time at Tunnel Records ever. Fucking Tunnel Records.
What a whore.
This wasn't planned. But like so many of my outfits are Tunnel Records. I think on the last episode I was wearing a Tunnel Records shirt.
I only have one sweater. I wear it every day.
So Tunnel Records, the first time I was ever there, I spent so much money. And that's where I bought Holy Grail stuff. I will make this fast. And I bought a Surprise Chef record, right? An LP, right? And because I had heard it on Spotify and I was like, this is cool. And whenever I hear something on Spotify that I really like, I go out and buy the vinyl. And so I bought it and it stayed sealed and I kind of didn't listen to Surprise Chef for a while. And then the Live at Diamond Mine stuff, the video I just showed you before we started, that I'm like, this is the song that I played last night at your show. They did a live version at the Diamond Mine. I saw that because I'm subscribed to Big Crown's YouTube channel, and I'm like, this is so good. And then that even though I had the LP already, that made me fall in love with Surprise Chef, watching the video, right? And then I was like, I haven't listened to that Surprise Chef album. I know that I recently went and sold albums to a record store, like went and sold like, okay, I don't need this one anymore. Went and sold stuff, and I was like, please tell me I didn't sell that Surprise Chef one. And so I went looking. Thankfully, I still had it. It was still sealed even. But like now they have like 3 LPs, an EP.
Mint in box.
In 12-inch form. And then I've got the 12-inch. The 12-inch dolly.
Yeah.
And they have a new album on the way out. Anyways, so yeah, Surprise Chef. I went up and played that on your stage yesterday.
I loved it. It was fantastic. And what's fantastic last night, because I wasn't drunk, I just felt incredibly blessed. I was on stage. I had people that came from like an hour away from Tracy, right? Like 30, 40 minutes away, come see me there. And it was their date night. It was a married couple's date night and they were all happy. But they brought me ShamWows.
Yeah.
Because the restaurant threw away my fucking ShamWows,
Yeah.
right? There was another...
I was trying to help.
Right. There was another
That wasn't me,
couple.
though.
They said I was trying to help, but it was in Spanish. I had to get a translator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now you understand? Now you threw away my equipment. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Then there was those girls on
You're
the end.
garbage?
They came from Stockton. They keep coming to my shows. Like Stockton, that's far away. That's 40 minutes away, right? And people were bringing me weed.
From Brentwood, maybe not.
Okay, while we're stopped
Well,
here.
the point I'm getting at is I'm on stage
Yeah.
and not drunk,
No.
thinking it's Monday night. I'm throwing a party. People are clapping for me. People are buying me drinks, giving me weed, giving me presents. My friends show up. It was just great. I feel really lucky.
Did you feel at all like the crowd was having as much fun? Did you feel like you were hyping them up as much as you normally would?
I think that people had really good paintings.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes my shows, when they're a little too fun, the paintings all suck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I just felt like last night it was the right, everything was right. It was the right audience. Some of the people had silver hair. So I didn't want to get too short, Right. So, I got to oh wait, all my hair is silver. I forget. Right.
It is so windy outside.
Right.
I know you can't hear this, but Jesus Christ, is it windy?
Yeah, it's Wizard of Oz out there. But YouTube only knows me for having this Gandalf fucking beard.
Yeah.
But if I shave this beard off, I look like I'm in my early 40s, maybe? It's weird.
And you say on your birthday, so this month it's happening, huh?
I don't know yet. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. But I can feel, because I haven't been drinking, my body's getting tight again. So soon I'll be able to walk around no shirt, all yoked,
Which is what it's all about.
and it's gonna be a trip. Strong, yoked,
I need to get back into fighting weight.
tattooed guy, but like silver beard. I'm gonna like.
We're gonna have an intervention for me soon.
I'm gonna be Master Roshi. From fucking Dragon Ball, Kamehameha. So yeah, anyways, at the end of every fucking Cartoonist Kayfabe show, they would end it. Ed would look at Jim and he'd be like, tell him the marching order so we could get out of here. And then Jim would say,
Read more comics.
Perfect. Goddamn, that was beautiful.